Hey everybody, Dallas again with Chaos Fragrances. Today we're back with another fragrance review. This time we're checking out another new fragrance from Parfums Vintage, and this one is called Sillage of Unicorns. So I just talked about this one in my weekly fragrance rotation video, and in there I said I was going to be reviewing this one shortly, and now I'm finally getting around to doing so. So before we jump into this review, go ahead and subscribe down below. Also turn on the post notifications and give this video a like. Trying to drop as much free content for you guys as I can, trying to do about 5 videos a week, so all I ask in return is a subscribe. With that out of the way, let's go and jump right into this review. So what is this fragrance all about? This one is a hybrid between Creed Millesime Imperial and Baccarat Rouge 540, and if you're talking about the Parfums Vintage end of things, it is a hybrid between Rush of Unicorns and Sunset in Heaven. So that's a pretty interesting mix, but honestly, it turned out pretty well. So let's go and start off right with the scent. So what do I get in the opening of Sillage of Unicorns? Right when I first spray this on, I get that Millesime Imperial Rush of Unicorns citrus type of vibe, mixing with the sweet undertone that you would get from Baccarat Rouge 540. And those of you who have experience with both these fragrances will kind of pick up on that right away. It's pretty easy to tell what this fragrance is a hybrid of. And one thing that I personally get from this fragrance, which some of you may be able to relate to this and some of you may not, but anyone out there who has tried Pez candy, you all know those like Pez dispensers and you put the little candies in them. For whatever reason, I get that type of smell from this fragrance. I don't know why. I'm not sure if I'm the only one, but I do get kind of a candy type of smell from this, and my girlfriend actually does get the same candy smell from this scent. So that's pretty interesting. Like I said, let me know down in the comments if you've smelled this one, if you get that type of smell or not. But I thought that was kind of interesting. So I get that melon right in the opening from Millesime Imperial, mixing with this like sweet latex glove, almost undertone from Baccarat Rouge 540. Working into the mid on this fragrance, I start to pick up on a little bit of lavender. From the dry down, it kind of smooths out a little bit, and you still get that nice sweet undertone that I was talking about in the beginning. In the base of this fragrance, I pick up on a lot of that ambroxan or ambergris and some fir resin, and those two notes are very prominent in both Millesime Imperial and in Baccarat Rouge 540, and I do pick up on both of those quite a bit in the dry down of this fragrance, which really gives it a lot of depth, and it kind of gives a lot of the other notes something to sit on. I also get a little bit of iris in this fragrance as well, which is pretty interesting. That note I don't believe really comes up in either of the two fragrances, Millesime Imperial or Baccarat Rouge 540. That is listed as a note in this fragrance, and I do pick up on it just a little bit, but it's not overbearing. Another thing I want to talk about when it comes to the smell of the fragrance is we've found that this smells a lot better in the air. So when I was first testing this out and I had my girlfriend smell it, smelling it on skin close up smelled completely different, whereas when I would like spray it on and waft it, or she would catch whiffs of it off my skin in the air, she said it smelled completely different in the air than on skin. So that's something you're going to want to keep in mind here when testing this one. On skin, it smelled a lot more feminine, whereas in the air, it kind of smelled more masculine. So that's, again, something that's kind of unique here, because a lot of times fragrances will smell a little bit different close up compared to in the air, but we have found that in the air it smells almost completely different. So when you're testing this one, if you decide to check this one out, make sure you do a test not only smelling it close up off your skin, but also kind of catching whiffs of it in the air, because chances are if you're wearing that, that's what people are going to smell on you. So let's go and talk about when you can wear this fragrance, and you know, that's kind of an interesting one, because this is combining two fragrances that are kind of made for different seasons. On one hand, you have Millesime Imperial, which is a summer fragrance or really just a warm weather fragrance, and you have Baccarat Rouge 540, which is generally seen as a cooler weather fragrance, and it can kind of combine those. So what season do I think this one is best for? Honestly, it can work for pretty much any season. I would say that this one does still lean towards the warmer seasons, just because it is a little bit citrusy. Even though it does have that sweetness to it, you know, maybe even transitional seasons, so like spring and fall when it's a little bit cool outside. Summer, it may be a little bit too sweet for summer, and winter, it probably could work because of the performance. But I would say overall, just to kind of sum it up, it could work any season, but I would say that it would be better suited for fall and spring, or just the weather when it's a little bit cool outside. Because if you put too much heat on this one, like here we are right now, when it's 80-90 degrees, I don't think it's going to do the best. In terms of situations, this thing can be worn really for about any situation that you could throw at it. It is pretty versatile in that sense. You could wear this one maybe dressed up a little bit. Also feel like it could be worn casually. So really, this one can tackle about anything. Let's go and touch on the performance of this scent. Longevity, I get about 9 to 10 hours on my skin. Projection wise, it projects quite a bit. Like we were talking about earlier when it comes to how it smells in the air. When I was testing this one, I was only doing about 2 sprays and it was filling up the room and really projecting a lot. So projection, I would say, is, definitely above average, getting close to the point where it can be almost too strong if you spray too much of it. So you do kind of have to go easy on the trigger on this one. It does not take a lot for you to get noticed. And that's what's really cool about this scent, and something that I was discussing with Damien, is basically what he was doing here was taking that Millesime Imperial DNA and then getting like the nice longevity of Baccarat Rouge 540, again mixing with that sweetness. So it is a really nice combination where you're getting a lot of longevity and really a lot of good performance from this scent, whereas you don't normally get with Millesime Imperial. Now, one thing is for sure, Rush of Unicorns, which again is their version of Millesime Imperial, does perform a lot better than Creed Millesime Imperial. Not as good as this scent here though, but it does still perform better than Millesime Imperial. So, if you want just that fragrance smell by itself with better performance, you can go with Rush of Unicorns. But again, what you're getting here is something that is very unique. It's something very different, combining these two fragrances. And then, like I said, on top of that, you're getting very strong performance. So let's go and touch about the compliment factor on this scent. And this one, I'm not going to be too sure about. Like I said earlier in the review, my girlfriend likes this one when it's in the air. On skin, she's not too crazy about it. So I guess in that sense, it's really going to depend. Baccarat Rouge 540 and Millesime Imperial both are very mass-pleasing scents. Millesime Imperial being mainly a citrus scent, which generally does well. Not many people are going to dislike that. Baccarat Rouge 540 is a little bit more daring. It's something that is a lot more different than a lot of the fragrances out there, but generally that one will be pretty well. People generally do have good luck with that one in terms of getting good feedback from it, and this scent does mix those two together, so you would expect for it to do good with compliments. So it really just depends on the people around you. It depends on what season you're wearing this in, because like I said, if you're wearing this in the really high heat, it's not going to do that great. I don't think it's going to get too sweet and probably not smell the greatest. I do think this one needs a little bit of cool weather to kind of tame it down, but nonetheless, I do think it's going to do well for you. And like I said, with the performance, this stuff is so strong that everyone is going to smell this on you really without you having to spray too much. But that could also be a negative if you do spray too much. People are probably going to get annoyed by it. If all they can smell is the scent and it's just way too strong and burning their nose, that's not something that is going to be good for you. So I would say, just watch your sprays on this one. Go relatively light on the trigger. If you're someone who normally oversprays, I would say maybe tame it down just a little bit, because this one is very strong. But overall, I do think it will be pretty good in terms of giving you positive attention. I'm sure there will be some people who turn their nose up to this one and dislike it just because it is a little bit on the daring side, but overall I would say it would do well. One more thing I want to add about this fragrance is the fact that this one is kind of unisex and a lot of times kind of leaning in the feminine direction. So anyone who is looking for a very masculine scent, you're not going to find that from this, which is to be expected because Millesime Imperial and Baccarat Rouge 540 are both fragrances that are very unisex, and some people will consider both of them to be more feminine than masculine. And that's going to be the same thing here with this one. So, if that's something that bothers you, if you look for fragrances that are generally masculine, then this one is not going to be that one for you. You'll definitely want to sample it first. But if you're okay with a fragrance that does lean kind of towards the middle, then this one is one that you'll probably end up liking. So my final thoughts on this one, I like it. Is it one of my favorite releases from them? No, it's not, but it is pleasant and it is something a little bit different. The two fragrances that this one is a hybrid of are both very popular scents. But what's nice here is that, combining these two together really kind of takes a different approach and gives us something that, normally you don't smell. And like always, the quality is very impressive. It doesn't smell or come across as being cheap or like a clone or anything. No notes are fighting to the surface or trying to get more attention than others. It just smells very blended, and honestly, the quality is just what I would expect from Parfums Vintage. I haven't smelled any of them where I thought that the quality was less than the fragrances that they're trying to imitate. So do I think this is one worth checking out? I do. Like I said, it's not going to be for everyone, so I do believe that they will have samples available of this one on their website. If not, I'm sure you'll be able to pick some samples up off of eBay or Facebook, but would recommend that you try this one out first because it is a little bit different. If you like Millesime Imperial and if you like Baccarat Rouge 540, it's pretty safe to say that you're going to like this scent. But if you haven't tried one or both of those fragrances, I would say go ahead and probably sample this one first. I wouldn't recommend you blind buy it. And of course, if you're looking for just clones of Millesime Imperial or Baccarat Rouge 540, they do offer both of those. Rush of Unicorns is their take on Millesime Imperial, and Sunset in Heaven is their take on Baccarat Rouge 540. So maybe if you own both of those, you can try layering them together and see what kind of result you get. I personally haven't tried that since I have this bottle here, so you may get a slightly different smell than this one because I'm sure he probably tweaked the balances of the notes and kind of took some stuff out and added some stuff. But that would probably give you a general idea of what it smells like, but again, I haven't tried it. I'm sure if it was that simple of just combining those two, then they wouldn't have released this, so it probably does change things up quite a bit. But nonetheless, it is something you can experiment with. So that's going to do it for this review, guys. If you've tried this one, let me know what you think down below. And that's going to do it. So if you guys enjoyed this review, don't forget to leave a like. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss when I post. That's it for me, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.